Welcome to the People by People podcast with me, your host, Laura Sutherland. I hope you're all well today as you're tuning into this latest episode of the podcast. I have been hard at work with some secret squirrel planning, as I alluded to in my last podcast, but I wanted to deliver some exciting news today that Aura has been accredited by the Good Business Charter. So I am really excited about that and really pleased that Aura has been recognised in this way. The Good Business Charter is a simple accreditation which organisations in the UK can sign up to in recognition of responsible business practices, and it has 10 it measures behaviour over 10 components in terms of things like the living wage, diversity and inclusion, ethical sourcing, payments, taxes, well-being, all that type of stuff. And obviously being a really small business, as in a person of one, I was able to quickly identify all the sort of positive areas and also some of the areas that I don't necessarily consider my business having to think about because I don't employ anybody else specifically, but it has made me think about other ways of, I suppose, framing the sort of points that it makes. So instead of talking about people I employ, perhaps it's people that I am paying to work with me. And if I'm paying them fairly, above average, the living wage or whatever. So I've kind of made notes to make sure that's part of my strategy going forward. I have been reviewing Aura's strategy recently, and I've been adapting it and changing it. And that's what another thing I wanted to tell you was that on Sunday the 5th of June, which is World Environment Day, Aura will be launching something very, very exciting, thought to be an industry first. And I've been working on this for a while because I believe it's something that businesses and organisations will need, should be using and also working towards. And you've probably seen me changing some content recently on my social channels, talking a little bit more around the stakeholder and ESG theme, and obviously the change last year to the Aura brand over to the Laura Sutherland brand was again kind of coming from the perspective of sustainability, ESG, and stakeholder relationships. And I've had the last year to be working with some really amazing businesses and to formalise my thinking around it more, to understand where I needed to be learning. So I've undertaken more learning and development. I have been investing time and energy into thinking things through, to testing ideas, and so it's all kind of led to something pretty exciting. But I also today measured Aura's carbon footprint for the last year. But I say Aura, I actually included my own personal travel in there because I believe that I am the business and that for full transparency, I need to be looking at me as a whole rather than just specific elements of the business, and mainly also because I work at home and I do mix business with pleasure. So if I'm traveling somewhere for skiing, for example, or for work like I did when I was in New York, I met so many other people when I was there and thought, well, why not make the most of it? So I'm trying to understand the balance for me and what that might be, but I do believe it's important to be very transparent about it. So Aura had basically a footprint. I cannot remember the tonnage of it. It's in the report that it sent me, but I did have because I had a carbon footprint, there was an opportunity there to offset my fairly limited carbon footprint in the grand scheme of things, but it is a carbon footprint, and I chose to pay my money towards carbon footprint who are investing, they give you a number of investment opportunities. I chose for them to invest it in internationally developed offset projects for the at-risk communities, so people who maybe are in risk of disasters like flooding, seriously high temperatures, drought, etc., which obviously leads to much more serious things in terms of disease, food poverty, etc. So I chose to do that because part of the other thing I've been working in and learning and more about is the 2030 agenda and who's going to be achieving what by when, linking in with everything that happened at COP and what people are committing to. And the 2030 agenda says that no person will be left behind. So where possible, I am thinking at home, but I'm also thinking abroad, and I'm thinking of different communities with different needs. And I think that's really important for us all to do that, because sometimes we just think in our own bubble and sometimes we just don't consider alternatives, which is absolutely fine. If that's what you want to do, but I believe that we need to be much more I think we need to be more considerate, and our actions and decision making should be much more geared towards our values. And I keep talking about, everything comes back to, are you living those values, not just speaking those values? And yeah, I do believe that's really important. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at just now. It's been a bit of a busy day trying to catch up with all that, and yeah, there'll be more coming out in the next couple of weeks, as I've said, including a brand new website, which I'm seriously excited about launching. I spent a lot of time on it, and I think that it's, I've had feedback from previous websites that I've developed for Aura, and people have kind of said that, great content, great blogs, really informative, but I'm giving away too much information and I'm not really letting people send inquiries through about things. And I suppose that's right. I suppose if you do give away too much information, and again, I was just trying to be transparent and tell the story as it is, but if you give away too much, it can be interpreted in different ways, and it doesn't allow people that opportunity to come and ask you questions about what it is that you're offering. So I've been very mindful of that when I've been writing copy and thinking about it all. But any advice you've got, I would be absolutely delighted to hear from you, or if you've got feedback on the current website, which is at aura-pr.com, I'd be happy to hear from you, because you know what it's like. It's a big investment, a new website. I'm not redeveloping the brand, because the current Aura brand looks good and acts well, and represents me definitely with the pink and the yellow. But that's it kind of for now. I will be back in touch in the very near future with my news. I wanted to, as I said, give you a heads up on what's been happening, all the exciting stuff I have been involved in. Oh, and if you are a PRCA member, a CIPR member, or if you're somebody in the public relations and communication industry, can I please ask that you do me a huge favour and that you take a look at the PRC's misinformation and the climate crisis strategy groups. I know, very long-winded. The latest piece of survey that has come out. We're working with Opinium on this latest survey in the industry, and it's going to help us benchmark the last 12 months since the last survey, but it's also going to help inform what we do going forward, and it's also going to give us an idea as to how much things have changed, since COP, but also since the pandemic, since people have started to understand more about the climate crisis and misinformation, and to see good and bad examples of how brands and companies have been acting, and also your own personal experiences in case you've been asked to unethically act towards something or say something, or you actually maybe experienced something really good and you've managed to turn a situation around, for example. So PRC is offering £100 Amazon voucher for a prize winner, so you've got a chance to win that, but also it just takes a few minutes, and it would really mean a lot to me if you could just take the time to fill it out. I'll put the link in there to in the show notes, so you can go on and complete it. But for now, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, it's been a short solo episode, but they're my favourite ones. So tune in to the next session. If you want to subscribe, then you will get it straight to your app. And please do leave a review. Thanks, and speak to you soon.